Welcome back, dear students. Today again we'll review being the very important topic ఎందుకంటే చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ అయిన విషయం అన్నమాట అడ్వాంటేజెస్ అండ్ డిసడ్వాంటేజెస్. కాబట్టి నిన్న క్లాస్లో మనము అడ్వాంటేజెస్ డిస్కస్ చేసాము. we have discussed about advantages. Today again I am revising advantages and disadvantages together. So advantages, merits, what we call. The first one is easy to form and wind up. అంటే చాలా సులభమైన విధానంలో మనము స్టార్ట్ చేయొచ్చు, అలాగనే దీనిని మనము ముగింపొచ్చు. సో ద ఫస్ట్ థింగ్ ఈజ్ ఈజీ టు ఫార్మ్ అండ్ వైండ్ అప్. మీన్స్ whenever you are feeling like a sole proprietor can start the business and easily can wind up when he is not happy with the business, or when he feels that this business is not going to flourish and all, in that circumstances he can wind up the business. In the similar manner, the second one is quick decisions and prompt action. Quick decisions, whatever decisions regarding the business he has to take. ఎలాంటి డెసిషన్స్ ఆ బిజినెస్ గురించి సంబంధించిన బిజినెస్ డెసిషన్స్ తీసుకోవాలనుకుంటే he need not depend on others. తన సొంతంగా ఆయన డెసిషన్స్ తీసుకోవచ్చు. ఆ డెసిషన్ తీసుకున్న డెసిషన్ ని త్వరగా అమల్లోకి కూడా తీసుకొని రావచ్చు. he can bring them into the action very promptly also. he need not consult others and all. In the similar manner, flexibility in operations. Flexibility in operations, in the sense whenever he feels that he wants to change the size of the business, nature of the business, he can easily change according to the requirement, according to the circumstance. The business can be adjusted. And direct motivation, in the sense ప్రత్యేకమైన ప్రేరణ అన్నమాట. మోటివేషన్ is nothing but ప్రేరణ, what we call in Telugu prerana. Since the sole proprietor is going to enjoy all the fruits of the business, fruits here is nothing but profit, అంటే వచ్చిన లాభాలన్నీ sole proprietor కే ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి he will be directly motivated. He is self inspired to work more and more. అలాగనే బిజినెస్ సీక్రెట్స్, బిజినెస్ ఒక రహస్యాలు అన్నమాట. he need not discuss all the secrets with anyone. First of all, he won't discuss the secrets of the business with anyone. Thereby we can say that all the business secrets will be lying with the business man, that is the sole proprietor only. And thereby whatever is the weakness of his business or what are the strength of his business, he need not disclose with others. Then he can keep personal contact with the customers. అంటే ప్రత్యేకంగా వినియోగదారులు కానీ ఖాతాదారులు ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో బిజినెస్ కి ఆయనతో పాటు వాళ్ళతో డైరెక్ట్ రిలేషన్ పెడతాడు. ఆయన వాళ్ళ టేస్ట్ గురించి, వాళ్ళ ప్రిఫరెన్సెస్ గురించి he will be able to know what are the taste preference of the customers, and accordingly he will give the services to the customers, and that will bring, definitely that will bring prosperity in the business, more and more profits in the business. Like that, self-employment. A person need not depend on others for working. ఒక మనిషి ఒక ఉద్యోగం కోసం ఇంకొకరి పైన ఆధారపడేది లేదు సొంత వ్యాపారం. Since he is having his own business, he can earn his livelihood with his own business. He need not wait to get a job, government job రావాలా, అలాంటిది అలా ఉండదు. చిన్న వ్యాపారం ఉన్నా he can manage and he can earn his livelihood. And since he is managing the business on his own, we say that the management is very, very, very liberal one, inexpensive. No cost is involved in managing the business. Limited cost, because there are no employees for whom we have to pay the salary. Like that, maintenance of books also, books of accounts. He need not appoint any auditor, he need not appoint any accountant and all. So management becomes very inexpensive, we can call, and socially desirable, since it involves little bit of investment. నివేశం అనేది కొంచెం ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి ఒక మనిషి తన ఉన్న సొంత నివేశంతో ఒక బిజినెస్ స్టార్ట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు, ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ జనరేట్ చేయొచ్చు. అలాగనే he can manage with the business, and that will bring in the society, we can say, the elimination of unemployment problem. Like that, the social desirability is there. Then easy to raise the finance. Easy to raise the finance in the sense, the person, sole proprietor, he can depend on his friends, relatives, and he can raise the loan. Nowadays, even the government is supporting most of the sole proprietors in giving the loans at less rate of interest. తక్కువ వడ్డీ రేట్లో ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఇస్తున్నారు కాబట్టి they can take the loans from the bank also at less rate of interest, or they can borrow the money from their friends and they can start their business. Like that, it has its own advantages. Then comes disadvantages. When we talk about disadvantages, what are the different disadvantages of the sole proprietorship? Demerits of sole proprietorship. The first one is limited resources. Limited resources. Here, when we talk about limited resources, the first limited resource is capital. The ability to get the capital is very less here. Thereby, he will not be in a position to get more amount of capital, and being one man, we can say his managerial ability is also very less. Being limited resources, he doesn't want, or he cannot depend on others. ఆయన ఇంకొకరిపై ఆధారపడి లోన్ తీసుకోవడం కానీ రుణం తీసుకోవడం కానీ ఆయన కుదరదు. ఎందుకంటే రేట్ ఆఫ్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ అనేది ఒక కాన్స్టెంట్ వస్తుంది అక్కడ, వడ్డీ రేటు, ఇంట్రెస్ట్ విల్ బి ద కాన్స్టెంట్. సో he generally tries to avoid taking loan from the friends or banks or whatever because of the reason called interest. Then comes unlimited liability. Unlimited liability. Already in the characteristics I told you, unlimited liability is nothing but where even the personal assets are held liable. In the sense, ఆయన ఒక ఆస్తి ఒకవేళ అప్పులు తీరకపోతే, బిజినెస్ రుణం ఏదైతే ఉందో, వాట్ ఎవర్ బిజినెస్ liabilities he has, if he is not able to repay from the business finance, that is from his own finance, then even his personal assets can be attached and they will be used for repayment of the business debts. Thereby, there is unlimited liability. Then, limited managerial ability. Because he is alone, at the most he can depend. ఆయన ఆధారపడేది ఎవరిపైన అంటే ఫ్యామిలీ మెంబర్స్తో, ఆయన భార్య కానీ పిల్లలు కానీ వాళ్ళపై ఆధారపడి ఆయన బిజినెస్ చేయగలుగుతాడు అంతే. దానికి మించు he cannot depend on others where he can employ the skilled person. Thereby, he has limited managerial ability. In the sense, he may be very good at purchasing, but he may not be good at selling. He may be good at selling, but he may not be good at marketing, because every person cannot have all the abilities. Like that, being a single man, he may have limited abilities with him, which is again an obstacle for the development of the business. Then comes lack of continuity. This we call as lack of perpetual existence also we call. Lack of perpetual existence we call. In the sense, if at all a sole proprietor expires, dies అన్నమాట, ఒకవేళ ఆయన చనిపోయినా, or if he is affected by any of the disabilities like accidents or insanity, పిచ్చితనం రావడం అన్నమాట, ఓకే, అలాంటి ఏమైనా పరిస్థితులు వస్తే, there is every possibility that the business will be winded up. There is every possibility that the business may not continue. There is no guarantee that your child, your son will continue with the business. Thereby, we say there is lack of perpetual existence. Ante, as long as a sole proprietor is healthy, as long as the sole proprietor is having sound mind, he can continue with the business. But later, in future, there is no guarantee that the business will be continued by his children. Lack of continuity we call. Similarly, wrong decision. One man cannot take a proper decision. Keep in mind. No doubt, you may take all possible efforts to give the best decision, but there is every chance that you may not be in a position to derive a better decision, correct decision. So there is every possibility that whatever decision you take, you will take in eagerness, anxiety, what we call, and those decisions ఆ నిర్ణయం ఏవైతే మనము ఆవేశపడి తీసుకున్నామో అవి రాంగ్ డెసిషన్స్ కూడా అవ్వచ్చు. ఒక్క రాంగ్ డెసిషన్ మే ర్యూన్ ద బిజినెస్, మొత్తం బిజినెస్ చెడగొడుతుంది అది. కాబట్టి దే సే sole proprietors, no doubt they take quick decisions, prompt decisions, but they may take wrong decisions. And as I told you, no perpetual succession, nothing but that was the point of the lack of continuity only. Perpetual succession ante there is no guarantee that your business will continue for a everlasting time. Like that, here we have the topic where we see the advantages and disadvantages. So here when we talk about the advantages and disadvantages of sole proprietorship, let us see their Telugu version for a while. Like for example, when we call about the easy to form and wind up in Telugu, we call it as Sthapana Raddu Sulabham. Okay, Sthapana Raddu Sulabham. Sthapana in the sense easy to form and Raddu in the sense wind up. Then quick and prompt decision when we call it as Satvaramana Nirnayalu and Saraina Karyacharana. Then when we have direct motivation, as I told you, it is Pratyeka Prerana. We call it as Pratyeka Prerana. Then when we talk about business secrets, Vyapara Rahasyalu we call. Then personal contact with customers, as I told you, is nothing but Katadaruluto Pratyekamaina Sambandham. Relation is nothing but Sambandham, contact, here we call. Then self-employment, we have, like that we have all these points. And then when it comes to the disadvantages, like first one we told, it's nothing but limited resources, in the sense resources are nothing but Panarulu we call, like Parimita. Parimita in the sense limited. Vanarulu we call. Then we have unlimited liability. Liability is nothing but Bajyata we call. Unlimited is Aparimita. So Aparimitaమైన Bajyata. Runa Bajyata also you can call, no doubt in that. Like that, limited managerial ability we have, where we call it as Parimita Nirvahana Samarthyam. Lack of continuity we have, where, as I told you, it's no perpetual existence. Then wrong decisions, like that. We have the various aspects of the sole proprietorship. Okay, then also we say that this form of business organization is not suitable in case of large scale operations, where a person wants to conduct the large scale business. He may not be able to conduct large scale business because there are hurdles like lack of capital, lack of managerial ability. All these will lead to the hindrance in the business. Now here I would like to conclude by telling that one man control is best in the world. One man control is best in the world. This question also you can expect in exam, where how you are going to present the answer. Answer is to be presented in the same manner, nothing but covering the advantages and disadvantages and suitability. So this particular phrase was given in the book called The Concepts of Modern Business, and there it was quoted that one man control is best in the world. And we know that always when a man takes an action to start the business, or when he takes an initiative to start the business, and when that initiative is transformed into an action, then he will be more eager, he will be more alert to do the business. That's the reason we call that one man control is best. No one can control the business as one can control his own business, because there will be direct motivation, direct inspiration will be there. The fear of unlimited liability and the motivation of earning the profits, these are the two guiding forces which makes a sole proprietor to work more and more and more and more. In that way, we have, whenever you come across this kind of question, one man control is best in the world, try to cover all the points which we have seen in the characters, advantages and disadvantages. That way you can present the answer. Then, sir, what are the questions which we expect from this particular chapter? As I told you, this is one of the most important chapter from the examination point of view. Generally, we expect 10 marks question from this chapter, where the question will be explain the characteristic features of sole proprietorship. If at all this particular question is appearing in the question paper, that is in your exam, directly don't start the answer. It's always good to first write the meaning. First, write the meaning of sole proprietorship. Then you write the features of sole proprietorship. When you write meaning and write the characteristic features of this particular answer, it gives you 100% marks, that is 10 out of 10 possibilities there. We can award you 9 marks also, and that becomes extraordinary answer. But generally what you all will do, since it is asked the characteristics, you will write characteristics and come. No. Minimum, you have to write the meaning, and if you are good enough, you can write even definition. That will add an advantage to your answer. Similarly, whenever he is asking you advantages and disadvantages of sole proprietorship, keep in mind, you can, if the question is combined, advantages and disadvantages, in that time, write the meaning, any 5 advantages of your choice and any 5 disadvantages of your choice. Time management is also important. Like that you can write. If at all the question is only advantages, then all you can write which you are able to see on the screen. That way, if you continue, you will be having a good idea and good, achievement in your exam. This is the topic of sole proprietorship. In the next session, we'll see about the other topics also, which will continue with the partnership and other forms of business organizations. So, having said this, once again, I would like to just conclude in 2-3 minutes by again revising the meaning of sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is a form of business organization where one individual takes the initiative. He brings all the resources like capital, management, his skills, his intelligence, and starts the business. He is the one who is going to enjoy all the profits of the business, and he is the one who is going to bear all the losses of the business. And that particular person is called sole trader. He is called sole trader or sole proprietor, and the business which is set up by him is called as sole proprietorship or sole trading concern. It is also called as individual entrepreneurship, or it is also called as individual proprietorship, single entrepreneurship. Then what are the features? Features like individual initiative, then your single ownership, your direct motivation, again your unlimited liability. Like that, you have various features of your sole proprietorship. Ownership and management are one and the same. No separate legal entity. less legal formalities. They all come under the characteristic features of your sole proprietorship, and advantages as already I have discussed with you all. We are going to learn about the next business, that is called joint Hindu family business, Ummadi Kutumbam. Now you know that Hindu family, joint Hindu family, అన్నప్పుడు ఉమ్మడి కుటుంబం. Most of you stay in joint family. Most of us stay in joint family, I can say. So, how to define this first joint Hindu family? That is first important aspect. Then we'll see the business. When we call about Hindu undivided family, they say that when people of three generations, who belong to the same common ancestors, when they live together, then we call it as joint Hindu family. Here the word Hindu doesn't mean that only the person who belongs to a religion called Hindu. No. Here we even mean the Jain community, the Sikh community, all they are included under the category called Hindu families only. Because simple logic is, previously India was called as Hindustan, that's it. And this kind of family setup you find only in India. Don't expect you find this kind of family system where the parents, children and their parents live together in America or Europe or England or wherever. No. In Western countries, we don't find this kind of setup. So, if you look at the picture which I have given, you can easily make out that in center we have the great parents, the old men, and on the side we have the other generation, that is the second generation, and along with that, if you see, you can see the third generation, the children. Like that, in a family where the people belonging to one common ancestor, when they stay together, we call it as a joint Hindu family. And that particular family, when it is conducting any business, we call it as joint Hindu family business. We call it as joint Hindu family business. And the person, the senior-most person, is called as the Karta. We call him as Karta. And this Karta is the male member, keep in mind. He will be the male member, the first male member of the family. And he is the one who is going to control entire family as well as the business. And for that reason, we describe Karta as the great grand master of the great grand show. Why we describe him as the great grand master? Nothing but he is like a Nayak. Nayakudaina. Why we call him as the great grand master of the great grand show? Managing a joint family is not so easy. Managing joint family is not that easy. It's like a show only, where we have different people, and managing the business, managing the family members, all the responsibility is with him. So we call Karta. In fact, we describe him as the great grand master of the great grand show. Then all other male members, like apart from the Karta, whoever are the male members, we call them as co-Pasinas. They are called co-Pasinas. Let me say, for example, if in a family, daddy is the head, and if he has 3 sons, then daddy is called as Karta and the sons are called as co-Pasinas. Now, do we have joint Hindu family business still existing in India, sir? Yes. I gave you the examples like Reliance, okay, Ambani's, they belong to joint Hindu family business. Haldiram, sweets and all we have, that is also a sort of joint Hindu family business setup only. Like that Mahindra and Mahindra we have, Tata we have, Jamshedji Tata and all were there. They all were conducting the business which was under the joint Hindu family setup business only. Here, how the joint Hindu family is guided. Then we have 2 schools of thoughts. One is called Mitakshara and one is called Dayabaga school, which is actually not there in your syllabus, but having idea of this is very important. Mitakshara and Dayabaga, these are the two schools of thoughts about joint Hindu family system. Simple Ganalante, this is going to explain you how the family setup comes. So here when I talk about Mitakshara school, in Mitakshara school only the male members become the members of the family, and whatever property is there of the joint family, that particular family is that particular property is the property of the family, not of the individual, not of the individual. And when the father, that is the karta, the first male member, when he expires, that time there can be the partition of the family. As long as father is there, generally there won't be any partition in the family. And this kind of school of thought, in the sense law, we follow it in all the states of India except Assam and West Bengal. Whereas in Assam and West Bengal, we follow Dayabaga school rule, where even we give preference to the female members. Even the female members, they become the members of the family, they call. And here, father is the sole owner of the joint property. And as long as father is existing, no member can enforce the partition of the family. There cannot be the partition of the family. Whereas in case of Mitakshara, I told you, partition can be there even during the lifetime of the father or after the death of the father. So what you can say in one word, in Mitakshara school, every person will get share in the property. Whereas in Dayabaga school, the share of property will remain constant. It will come to the person by achieving the throne, we can say. In the sense, as long as your father is existing, the son will not get the right on the property. After the father dies, the first son will get the right on the property. As long as first son is existing, the second son will not get the right on the property. Like that, we have Mitakshara and Dayabaga school. Just for reference, we are going to see that. Then, what are the features of this particular joint family system? We have the formation. This particular joint family business, it is formed according to the act of Hindus Act, Succession Act we call. It is formed by the Hindu Succession Act, and all the members, whoever are the persons who are born in the family, are the members of the joint family. Keep in mind. And if at all you adopt a child, even legally when you adopt, that person becomes the member of the family. Apart from that, when a woman marries a male person, she also becomes the member of the family. Then, as I said, it is governed by Hindu law. Management is in the hands of only one person, that is Karta. All other persons called co-partners will be a kind of help to the Karta. Then profit sharing. Here the profits are shared by each and every individual according to the share. Decisions can be taken quickly. Like that, we have the joint Hindu family system. Of course, this is not the topic which is there, but still, to have an idea, we have just touched the topic. Okay, so just have an idea. You can have a glance on the slide so that you will have a clear-cut idea. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you. God bless you all.